Hi, Columbia. Welcome to this week's episode. I'm David Greisman here with Milton Matthews, the President and CEO of Columbia Association. This week we're talking with John McCoy, the Watershed Manager. John, I know that there's a pond study that the board has asked CA to do. What is that looking into?
Yeah, we're looking at the condition of our smaller ponds. We have the three large lakes in a plan that's been developed for managing sediment, and the smaller ponds, we're interested in doing something very similar, and also looking at maintenance needs and trying to get out in front of some of the larger capital cost on the ponds that we're responsible for doing maintenance of.
But just give us a quick overview. Is that what is the primary function of a pond, especially if it's tied to a stormwater management system?
Yeah, well, Milton, all of our ponds were built to either control sediment or control stormwater with the amenity to residents being kind of a secondary purpose. Mm-hmm. So we have some older ponds that were actually farm ponds that predate the development of Columbia. We have some ponds that were built as silt ponds or sediment ponds. Jackson Pond's a good example of that. And then we do have some newer ponds that were built exclusively as stormwater ponds.
Okay. What's the biggest distinction between our ponds and what we call our lakes? We identify as 3 lakes, but we have a number of ponds.
Truthfully, I think it's just the name.
Just the name? Okay.
Yeah, because everything here is built. We don't have anything over about 35, 38 acres in size.
Okay.
So folks who manage larger lakes here in Maryland, like Deep Creek or something like that, when we talk about Kittamaqundi or Wild Lake, they do view it as a pond.
Pond, yes.
And everything else is smaller than that. So we call the 3 big ones Kittamaqundi, Wild Lake, Elkhorn, and we call them lakes. Everything else just gets relegated to being a pond.
Okay.
And so the study creates like an inventory of the ponds and the potential improvements, and then we figure out the priorities of the projects from there?
Yes, it will actually, because we do inspect them. The ponds that we're responsible for maintenance of do get county inspections, and that'll help us lay out what's coming up in sequence on what will need to get fixed.
But we've already been doing pond improvements over the years?
We've done major improvements to a number of ponds. Pushcart, Homespun, Patriot Pond have all had major renovations done, and of course Dan and Garth is in the process of getting set up for a major renovation.
One of the points that's very important for me to pass on to our viewers is that there are a lot of ponds within the Columbia community, but all of them are not maintained by CA. Talk to us about that.
That's correct. There are a whole lot of ponds, different types, dry ponds, wet ponds. The wet ponds are the ones of particular interest, and there are wet ponds on other private property, out parcels that are maintained by those HOAs or organizations. There are ponds within CA property or open space that are older, that CA has capital maintenance responsibilities for, and there are ponds within open space that the county has capital maintenance responsibilities for.
And what is the anticipated timeline of this study?
It's going to take us about a year to get a draft out, and I would assume that we're going to go through the public process with that, and then and I'm not really sure how long that'll take. And once we're done with that, I'm thinking about a year and a half.
All right, John, thank you very much. Columbia, thank you.
Thank you.